Morning team. So I'm applying a little bit of oil pastel to the sketch that I showed you during a live demo. And just wanted to let you know I am using my complementary colors to create skin tones. So I have some orange and blues that I'm using. I also have some pink that I might use with some warm green for the shadow shapes as well. And I'm starting off pretty light and bright, so I always start with the warm values, which is this warm orange, as well as this pink here to warm up my flesh tones. And I'm applying it kind of very loose and light. I prefer not to have it very, very heavy, because the great thing about oil pastels is you can continually layer on top of it to make some really beautiful blends. So for example, I might use some of this peach as the blender. Once I have my oranges and my pinks for the skin tone, I can figure out where the highlights are and just kind of keep adding more heavier blended values, transitions. At some point, once you have most of the area laid out in terms of color value tone, you can add heavier values as you go. So you can see this shadow shape under my index finger. I'm using mostly orange and blue, which is a combination of this cobalt, ultramarine, violet blue, and this orange. And what I'm doing is I'm first adding either the warm orange and the blue, and then I keep on adding to create that shadow shape. So the shadow should be transparent, meaning fairly thin and light. You can still layer, but the application should be fairly thin and light. Over here is a little more highlight. I'm using mostly just the peach, and then I'll go in with the orange and the pinks that I see on my flesh tone with some shadow shape. So the shadows shapes, I'm gonna have choices. I'm probably gonna stick with that orange and blue combo. It seems pretty effective, but I could transition it too with the green and red, since I use pink, which is part of the red family. So for your skin tone, you're gonna ask yourself, what color value scales do you wanna use? You wanna start with some kind of complement tone, because as you know, complements create beautiful browns. You could do a red-green combo, you could do a blue-orange combo, or a yellow-violet combo. When you combine the two, again, it could be a yellowish purple-brown, it could be a reddish-greenish brown. You get to decide how you wanna mix that, and you can lighten and darken it as you go, depending on, using the next color that's lighter. So say it's yellow purple, the next one that would be lighter would be using a little orange yellow with the violet to make it a little lighter. And we'll talk more about that when you guys practice. Well, you have practiced your value scale, so we can reintroduce that and just see the potential of how we can create beautiful, beautiful skin tones with mostly using just colors, with really minimal black and minimal white. The peach would be good to use as a blender for all of them. But the magic really is by mixing those beautiful complementary color scales. Sometimes I just like leaving the colors kind of boldly there too. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to overblend everything. There's something about just having that color kind of sing a little bit longer. Looks kind of cool. It's a little more stylized, but I say go for it. So the final composition will be on black paper. Just want to let you guys know that. Meaning it's going to have a little more contrast. Will pop a bit more when we actually add color. So right now we're just kind of getting the basic study of color, but eventually we will have black paper behind. And again, here's the example of the black paper. Just kind of sings a little bit more with the contrast. It really kind of pops. Using very similar color scale. I mean, I did probably use a little more yellow now I'm looking at it than maybe right here, but it is very much similar. It's still the same hand. I did that maybe a couple years ago. And yes. So at some point, once you see these transitions coming, if they're like subtle blends, we can use that blender tool, which could be the peach tone, or it could be a nice warm blue, or warm blue and orange combo, and see how that creates your local color for your skin tone. You add a little more bold red too, just in some areas. You strengthen some of the shadows with that blue. Again, organizing your color palette is going to be so essential. So keeping the warms on one color, warm it up first with the warms of each color, depending on the value scales, and then you cool it down depending on if you see more of a middle to dark transition. Okay, so I'm definitely gonna keep working on it, and I might add more layers as I go. But there's some color depth to what I'm doing, and you know, we want to aim for that, really adding some nice complementary colors, some light tones, some middle tones, some dark tones as we see them, getting more transparency in the dark tones. Okay, excited to see what you're up to, and talk to you soon.